Let's go. We're on.
And we're back in Castle or Schloss Caromark. You are still looking for the Count, who seems mysteriously absent in his own home. And you've already learned a little bit of what has happened here. So maybe I'll just let you summarize what is your current take of the scene. What do you think happened here so far?
Well, from the top of my head, we were invited by our new friend, the Beast of Lepidstadt, to visit his maker, and once we came to visit, we discovered that the Count already had visitors who were pretty violent about seeing him. And as we explore his schloss, we have encountered his, let's say, housework automata that were also pretty violent, lethally so, and upon our further exploring, there were more traps, more summoned creatures, even more traps with summoned creatures, and some crazy experiments that seems to have been conducted by our new host. However, so far we didn't see neither our host, neither his guests, which were so far we were led to believe were the same kind of people who murdered our friend Petros Lorimor. And I believe that was about what we collected from our situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Were we able to determine who the attackers were? We know that they have some sort of magical capabilities since they created a stone bridge to get from one section to the other. Did we determine if it was the Whispering Way or someone else?
I don't remember that exact point. We have, I believe we were established that these were the same people who were involved with Professor Lorimor, and these people are very spellcastingly advanced, since they can cast Shape Stone. That I remember.
Okay. Well, I guess that's good for now. You're currently in what appears to be the third building of this strangely spread out and disconnected complex that makes up the Schloss of Count Caromark, whom you've already heard about his eccentricities, but seeing them even displayed in the very architecture of his home is quite impressive. You've made it deep into the castle itself. You have braved already a menagerie of strange creatures. But, and here I will just summarize a little bit of what you discover next, which is that after you thoroughly went through this part of the Schloss and kind of inspected all of the different rooms in here and found various strange conserved monstrosities that were just sitting in jars on the shelf. You also don't really find any trace of the Count. So there's only one way onward, which is taking the precarious looking narrow pathway that connects to the northernmost room where you had fought the mummy that is still following you around, and the mimic that you destroyed. And then from there, it winds up, climbing the bare rock face, all the way up to some strange interconnected towers. It climbs all the way to about 200 feet above the falls. And as you traverse these towers, or this sort of complex by itself, you realize that they're essentially flooded. The lower levels of these towers that reach deep into the rock itself have been flooded, apparently, and are filled with floating debris. You carefully explore the rooms as well as you can, and you find that they are basically containment chambers of some sort, displaying various strange creatures that have been, kept like a private zoo almost. There's a Giralon, which is a four-armed gorilla, essentially, that has drowned and is just floating in one of the chambers. There's a basilisk that has been brutally mauled, it appears, and has burn marks all over his dead body, and his remains are found in another one of these chambers. The third one contains something of a weird fungus that must have been quite large, but has been burnt with fire, possibly, and has shriveled and rotten to the point where you can hardly even recognize it anymore. And the fourth of these kind of containment chambers, cells, whatever you want to call them, is mostly deserted.
Or it seems to be deserted.
Well, you make sure that you don't miss anything, but you're quite certain that whatever was kept in here is gone.
Maybe it was.
So there's only one way onward, and that is taking the grand stone bridge that arches over the gorge from this already high up.
Sorry.
What is that?
Maybe.
Hmm?
Well, I mean, we were thinking of maybe sending the mummy in before us, weren't we?
Yeah, well, I'm still summarizing.
Go ahead.
So the only way onward is the grand stone bridge that arches over the gorge to a stack of rock on which perches another tower. This one just singular, standing isolated on a single peak of rock, and itself reaching high into the dark, cloudy night sky. And the tower itself is topped with a lightning rod, of course, while storm clouds are already gathering, and the smell of rain is in the air. The bridge is 3 feet wide, has no handrails or anything like that. And the tower is something like 50 to 60 feet away. Itself a great structure perching atop a sheer stack of rock above the river. It climbs to an elaborate iron steeple from which a huge lightning conductor calls out to the skies. And at the entrance of the tower, a large set of double doors stands open. You can vaguely see inside that looks like the tower. On the inside is basically just one large hall, but it's kind of hard to see. The view is somewhat blocked by the large pile of remains of your friend,
Mhm.
the Beast of Lepidstad.
All we worked for to free him, only to meet
Yeah.
such an end.
Well, I mean, as we've, and I believe I've mentioned before, we is most likely should be able to reconstitute him if the damage is not too severe. I mean, he is a remarkable construct, but the beast is a construct.
Well, I mean, do have some experience. We do have some experience with things returning from the dead, but it never ends well in my experience.
I ended well.
That's debatable.
Look who's fucking talking. I mean, look at you. Like, debatable.
I guess Lady Evelyn came back all right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Evelyn is kind of ignoring the banter, and she's just like inspecting the body of the beast to see how he died.
yes. Speaking of which, I believe only Emaírel hasn't returned from the dead just yet, right? Yeah, I wonder if we need to fix that. I'm just banter. I'm sorry, Master Emaírel.
So you walk over to the beast's remains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carefully, I assume, since the bridge is
Yes.
quite narrow.
It looks precarious.
But so we
okay.
see we're like still standing outside, but we see the like the beast in the doorway.
Yeah, the beast is basically has collapsed in front of the door, somewhat, almost in the doorway.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, Evelyn will go very slowly on the bridge and kind of ask the mummy for assistance.
Wait, will we have to move the body to get through anyway, right?
Well,
Yeah.
we have to cross the bridge first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just mean like so we are careful not to drop the body.
Let's not drop the body. No.
Yeah.
But the
Well,
But
body's
you
like
have
on
you
a
have to
little.
you have to get there first. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
We have to cross a bridge to like a platform where the body is, and then there's the doors behind it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go first.
aren't we going to send the...
Oh, the mummy, yeah.
what if the mummy falls into the abyss?
No great
Um,
loss.
Can we maybe have the mummy like affix some rope or something just as a little handrail? Is there anything that we could have the mummy tie off a length of rope to?
You have the mummy dominated, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Is that? Well,
It's under the effects of the command undead feet.
right, but the thing is that it's just quite stupid. So you're not sure if you would, without having a means of
Well,
checking it's not, you
it's
would probably not rely on it.
So it is under the effects of control undead.
Right, but it still has an intelligence of 6. So you just don't really trust its ability to tie a knot securely and find a secure spot to tie it to. It could certainly try. It could certainly do it, but I mean, and you can let it do that if you want to. I'm just saying that it's basically just barely above animalistic animal intelligence.
I mean, a dog is like a 2, so.
Right. It's like I have a
Okay, all right.
have a hard time comparing. And like I said, you can definitely trust it. It's just something that I find unlikely.
It's
that
just a
you would-
very dumb person.
That's
worse.
more like a mentally disabled person.
Well,
Because
it just
it's only half its brain is there.
well,
kinda, yeah, and even that is a stretch.
it hates you with every fiber of its non-existent soul. So it won't do anything that unless it absolutely has to.
Oh well,
No,
it doesn't
that's
matter
not,
if
it
it wants
doesn't
to or
matter.
not.
Exactly, yeah, that's not the point. Like
Yeah.
it can't really resist. It just yeah. And like I said, you could definitely have it do that. I'm just saying that you are
Okay,
aware
okay.
of its mental
All right.
limitations.
Well, in that case, maybe Evelyn will just ask it for personal assistance in helping her cross, but she'll let whoever wants to go first go.
Okay.
How's the bridge? Is it a proper bridge or again one of those magically crafted ones?
It seems like it was made. It's masonry. It was constructed, not magically grown.
You can always trust engineers.
Yes.
Shall I detect magic before we progress? How long is the bridge?
60 feet.
Oh, it's pretty long.
No, well, it will. I believe it will be covered by a detect magic spell. It is 60 feet cone, right?
Yeah, but it won't get further than that. But yeah, I can at least scan the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Okay. No magic registers.
Seems as safe as it appears.
Oh.
I guess EmaＲel will try to do the same thing he had done before and get the rope around himself and loop it around the bridge and then go for it very carefully.
Okay. You make your way very carefully across, and you feel like you maybe you feel quite secure in what you're doing, but you think that maybe you're being overly careful here, but it's certainly nothing that you should just rush into. So you carefully make your way across and get safely to the other side. You see the towering body of the beast lying in front of the door on its back, as if it had been, kind of blasted from something on the inside of the tower. It is covered in brutal looking gashes and cuts, and it's covered with strands of thick webbing and like various patches of it sticking to its lifeless remains. Beyond, the yawning entrance to the tower awaits, and inside you see more of this strange webbing shimmering slightly in the darkness inside.
It's glitters too. Okay.
While the rest of the group is making its way across the bridge, can Emaṛel figure anything out about what sort of creature could have created that webbing? If it's made by a creature.
Okay, dungeoneering. Okay. Well, there are various giant spiders that could do that. You've also heard about strange spider people. They're called addercaps, that are capable of producing webbing like this. So it must be something like that, some sort of arachnid or arachnoid.
All right. So if Emaírel was able to cross relatively safely, then Arronax will be a little bit reassured, and he will very carefully, slowly, but while holding the rope that Emaírel cast across the bridge, he will also cross it.
Okay. Well, being very careful,
Yes.
making you definitely more careful than you've been in the past. You make your way across, and for once, you get all the way over there.
That's not something I want to repeat.
Geier's gonna follow suit then.
Okay. Yeah.
Afraid of falling.
So, and once Arronax is across, he will also examine the body of their friend. I suppose that I can use a medicine to learn something about his wounds, right?
Yes. You can try heal.
Yeah. In the first edition, it is heal.
Okay. Well, it looks like he wasn't just attacked by a single creature, because assuming that Emaírel shares his theory on the spider creature,
Yeah.
it doesn't really fit in with those cuts that you see, because the cuts look more like giant claws of some sort, almost like giant pincers.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was a spider, then it definitely had a little lobster friend.
The more I think about it, the more disgusting it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
And Evelyn, for her part, will be bringing up the rear as they're starting to inspect the corpse of the beast, and she'll be like, she'll detect magic again, trying to look inside the doorway as far in as she can get without actually entering.
Okay. So you take some careful steps towards the doorway, because the on the inside, the chamber, as you had already suspected, is basically just one large room that goes quite some way up. You spot a set of stairs that spiral up on the inside wall of the tower, and then kind of.
No. Arronax quietly says it to the dead beast.
Okay. And the stairs spiral up until they're lost from view. And you let your magic detecting eyes wander. And there's something. You feel something. After making sure that you're not just falling for another of your own auras again, you focus and give me a knowledge arcana check. Anthony?
1 second.
Okay. Okay.
I am untrained in Arcana. Oh, no. Sorry, I have 1 point. Yeah, so that's it. 13.
Okay. You can't quite tell what it is, maybe because it's so far away. But there is a tiny little aura, about the size of a dog, that's sticking to the ceiling near a patch of webbing. The rest of the inside here, it's a circular room, as I said, and it's choked with webs.
That's not foreboding at all.
Well, if Lady Evelyn points it out, maybe Emaírel can take a look at it too.
Yeah, Evelyn will point out with a long, pale finger and say, "Something lurks up there."
Splendid.
And
Yes.
yeah, Emaírel
Something is there.
It's quite
Emerald can
mysterious,
see
isn't it?
Emerald can see it too, and as both of you continue to concentrate on your spell, you watch the aura move a little, slowly making its way across the room to a different part in a different corner.
Do you recognize it? What is it?
Emaírel is definitely going to pull out the spear and shield and get
Okay.
ready.
Yeah, and if that is the case, then Arronax will also immediately will take his new mutagen that he had brewed between their encounter after the mummy. No, wait. That he had brewed after their encounter with the mummy. There.
Okay.
That would be Constitution mutagen.
Evelyn's also going to peer around the room, regardless of what her detect magic tells her, and just see what she can with her dark vision. Anything appear to be lurking or hiding around any corners?
Yeah, you carefully inspect all the webbings. I mean, this is of course a prime hunting ground for any sorts of spider that easily be able to blend in with the web, so you really make sure you don't miss any details. But there seems to be nothing here that moves except for that aura. But behind some thick strands of webbing, you spot a number of faint, what is that, chalk marks on the east wall of the room, the far side.
Where are these chalk marks relative to the aura that was moving?
It's above it. So the chalk marks are on the east wall, which is across from the entrance, and the aura was hovering near the ceiling, but right above the chalk marks.
Wonderful.
Don't like the word hovering.
And the aura is getting closer to us?
No, it just moved over there after Evelyn pointed at it and made Emaírel aware of it. We both saw it moving across the room along the ceiling, and now it's hovering right above the chalk marks.
Is there any reason?
Better...
Yeah, is there any reason to think that this thing might not have spotted us? I mean, obviously we can't make out what it actually is, but like we're pretty exposed where we're standing, looking in this room, right?
Yeah, you're backlit by the. I mean, it's night sky and the clouds are gathering, but it's still brighter outside than it is on the inside. So you're sort of backlit by the outside light. So, and you have a mummy with you who's not really good at being stealthy. So you would think that it definitely noticed you.
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn's just going to call out, "Hello in there. Are you friend or foe?"
Oh, great, get its attention.
Is Emaírel still focusing on the detect magic? Because I mean, Evelyn started to use perception, but anything.
It's the only way to catch the moving aura, right?
Well, there's just an aura, and you can only see the aura when you have your detect magic on.
Yeah, well then he'll keep that up.
Okay. And so Emaírel essentially probably tracks the aura pointing at it or something so that the others know where to look. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see Emaírel's finger trace a line from the ceiling down towards the chalk marks. And then it just kind of stays there.
Evelyn's gonna call out again. We came as guests of the beast and Herr Karamark and have met nothing but dangerous music and misfortune since our arrival here. We do not seek a fight, but we do seek to find out what befell our friends and host.
Suddenly, a creature pops into existence for those of you who haven't been able to track the aura. And Emaírel, you realize that it just becomes visible. It's small, it's vaguely childlike, but it has very distorted features. It's stitched together from patches of skin and fur. It has wings that allow it to hover in place, and it's flapping them frantically. It look like bat wings almost. Its head is also very misshapen. Looks like almost like there's a huge tumor that gives it a sort of crooked, unbalanced look as its head bulges in on one side, while the other side looks almost fallen in. And it hovers there and takes a ring, puts a ring into its pocket that it had been wearing up until just now, apparently. And it starts to wordlessly, without any sounds, since it, as you notice, doesn't even have a mouth. It just starts to motion and gesture towards the wall where Evelyn knows the chalk marks are hiding behind the webbing.
It had written something on it.
Emaírel is going to point to the beast and ask, "Your brother?"
And this disfigured thing shakes its head and points towards the ceiling where you see the staircase end in front of a trapdoor. And it just points up there and then gestures towards the webbings and towards the beast. And then again at the chalk marks, and then at you, and then at the chalk marks again.
I see.
So it's obviously trying to communicate something.
Yes, if only we had some way of removing this webbing from a distance. Maybe some unseen force, for example.
Well, this thing is this thing has well, I don't know how noticeable it is because Evelyn tries to keep her composure at all times, but this thing has Evelyn freaked in a way that the mummy doesn't. So she kind of gestures for the mummy to take the lead, and then follows maybe like 10 feet behind it, and starts heading over towards the chalk markings. And now, when this creature, you said this creature shook its head about the beast. Was that a yes or a no shake?
A no shake.
Okay. Yeah. Evelyn's gonna cautiously head into the room, still keeping her eyes out, but heading towards the mark.
Evelyn, want to tell us what the hell's going on?
I would if I could.
That's like, should we run or what are we doing?
Well, it doesn't seem to be hostile.
Yeah, a lot of things don't seem to be hostile until they kill you. Especially involving webs.
Yeah, and kind of taking a hint from the doctor, once Evelyn gets within range, she's going to use Mage Hand to try and clear away the webs.
Okay. The unseen hand moves the webs, as kind of brushes them aside, clears them away a little bit, and you see, unfortunately, little more than smudges on the wall, chalk marks, stains of obviously someone or something had written or drawn something on the wall here, but then it was wiped not very thoroughly, so you might be able to piece something together.
What would it take to piece together the meaning?
Linguistics or
perhaps?
Linguistics or perception.
I know this is a mechanical thing I'm asking, but does it seem like it'd be easier to use one versus the other?
You're not you don't, it's not an either or.
Okay.
Like you can only try one.
You know what, Evelyn will.
And also, it's not something that you have to try. Spontaneously. You can take your time trying to do this if you want.
That's true.
Actually, I have a different idea. Since I have my Alchemist kit on me, and while I don't have it written in specifically, but can I assume that I actually have on me a piece of chalk?
Yeah.
Yeah, in that case, Arronax will try to pull out a piece of chalk and offer it to the homunculus.
And the homunculus, at first it applauds when the webbing is brushed aside. And as you hold out the chalk for it to grasp, it just shakes its weird-looking head again. And it just says, shakes his head, points to the chalk marks, and then makes like a walking gesture with two of its fingers, and points at the door that you came in, and points at the chalk marks again.
Evelyn's having a hard time piecing anything together.
Yeah, it's really just smudges.
Emaírel is going to take a look at the chalk marks.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd also like to he knows the beast was constructed. This thing looks constructed, but is it?
Knowledge Arcana. Could be. It's flesh golems come in all sizes, theoretically, so why not?
Maybe it means that this chalk used to be another summoning sigil that plagued us to this moment. I mean, if I can interpret the gestures of this advanced little creature, it probably means that this chalk drawing will make us to go away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Evelyn, off the top of your head, you can't make sense of these markings.
Gentlemen, is it worth taking the time to puzzle through this, or ought we see what could be up above?
Yeah, only fools rush in.
Well, I don't know. Personally, I sense
That creature is obviously trying to tell us something. We might as well listen.
Well, I personally I feel a certain sense of danger from unveiling this secret. It might very well be some sort of symbol spell inscribed in there, and by piecing it together we might fall under its effect.
I think if we were intended to fall under some ill effect, the would not have been scratched out like this. I feel someone was trying to obscure or hide it.
Boom, boom. All of a sudden, the room shakes, and little flecks of dirt and dust rain down from the ceiling. The fleshy creature gets really spooked by it and stares up and then looks at you and puts a finger against where a mouth would be, signaling you to be quiet. And its eyes go wide, at least one of them, because the other one is swollen shut from the bulging head, as it stares up at the ceiling. Waits if there's going to be another sound. And then when nothing follows after, it relaxes a little bit.
Okay, it is definitely intelligent, and it's definitely trying to communicate something we should be afraid of.
By the way, can I actually use some kind of knowledge to identify the creature as a homunculus?
Yeah, knowledge arcana, I think. Yeah, probably. Yeah, homunculus sounds about right.
Yeah. So Arronax will nod and say, "Yeah, well, of course, it's intelligent. It's a homunculus. It's about as intelligent as a familiar of a wizard, which can be more intelligent than some wizards in some aspects."
That's not saying much.
Yes.
Emaírel is going to try to pull out a piece of paper and a quill and write what is your name, present it to the homunculus and see if it can write.
Good question.
Well, I mean, if it can't write in chalk, so or doesn't want to write in chalk.
Yep. He, from what you can tell with this just rudimentary face, he almost seems to light up a little bit when he sees you take out the quill and the and begin to write, and it comes fluttering over to you and takes the quill out of your hand if you let it have it.
Yeah.
And then it starts to write in a tiny, tiny, cramped hand. It writes out, They were here. They let the Promethean in here, but not the good one, the aberrant one. He's up there with our father. Father's trapped. You have to help. Please. The others that came before you, they're gone now. They left something on the wall. I couldn't read it in time before they wiped it, but they discussed it for quite some time. It must have been important to them.
Didn't they perform some sort of ritual in Harrowstone as well? This
We
is
ought
not
to
good.
know.
Yeah.
We ought to know what is happening here before we put ourselves in any further danger.
Emaírel is going to ask, what is the Promethean?
And the homunculus writes, Father created him, but he's bigger than his younger brother, but he's also more angry. And they released it. And now it's Up there. I'm afraid that the master will die if you don't help him. Please.
All right.
Damn it.
Before we proceed, I have one out of character question. When we dealt with the mummy back there, was there any sort of loot we collected from the sarcophagi? Because I don't remember that one.
Sam, you usually keep track of that, right? Did you?
I don't think we got anything from that encounter.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
that sounds
we
right.
saw that the sarcophagus was empty and it just had like those hooks in it to like keep the
Right.
mummy in there.
And the sarcophagus itself seemed valuable, but that doesn't really help you.
I'm just still wondering a bit about getting myself an emergency suit of armor because I'm still naked. And
Does the mummy have any armor on it?
Yeah, that's the question.
No, it hasn't been entered in armor. It's basically naked under its under the wrappings.
Well, I guess I'll have to improvise then.
So Emaírel is going to ask again. So upstairs, it's only your father and the Promethean right now?
And the mistress, he spells out. But as always, she's not going anywhere.
Oh, great.
What made these webs? Evelyn tries just talking to it and letting it write the response back.
And he just points at the aberrant Promethean that he had already written earlier, those words.
Great.
Is that enough information for, or rather, Emaírel will ask him to describe the Promethean more so that he can attempt to figure it out?
Can it?
Yeah, he starts drawing some creature on the paper.
I was just about to ask, can it draw it?
And he doesn't seem to be very creatively gifted or anything. It looks more like a technical drawing. And at the same time, it looks like something that a child would have seen in a bad nightmare. It's a vaguely humanoid with giant lobster-like claws, or a claw, singular. Wait, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. Lobster-like claws, but then also tentacles. And apparently it can make webbings. One arm seems longer, much longer than the other one, but the creature sort of makes a gesture as if it can extend the arm. And it just seems to keep adding bits and pieces of other creatures into the mix to the point that it's just ridiculously over-engineered and doesn't seem to make sense to you at all anymore.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that looks just wonderful.
Would that be enough for Emaírel to identify it?
It's enough to make Emaírel realize that he has no clue, that this is not a single creature or anything that's common. This is something unique, probably something the Count must have created himself.
Okay.
You see bits of cloaker. You see bits of ettercap. You see bits of a choker. Everything blended together to form this weird mass.
And why can't people just sew corpses together like normal scientists?
Yeah.
The homunculus mentioned the mistress. Like, did he mean the his father's wife?
He responds, "Yes, Lady Karamark."
Living, dead, or something else?
Dead but well preserved.
Great.
Well,
Excellent, actually. I can work with that.
well, I mean, that seems to be aligning with modus operandi of ours. The last time when we were in Hearthstone, we also had a mistress dead but well preserved. So,
Yeah,
It's strange how well things get preserved here, huh?
yeah. Emaírel is going to ask to clarify: undead or well preserved?
is she moving?
What was your question? Sorry. Dead or?
Undead or well preserved?
He just points at what he has written. Dead and well preserved.
Doesn't
Alright.
sound like she ought to be much of an concern either way.
Anyway, I believe we at this point we learned all we have to know about this thing. Well, unless it has some sort of vulnerability that we can exploit. Arronax makes an emphasis and looks at the homunculus. Although homunculus is probably not intelligent enough to recognize an emphasis. Arronax will roll his eyes and say, "Is this Promethean has any vulnerabilities that we should know about?"
He points towards the trapdoor you see in the ceiling, and you recognize the metallic sheen, and you realize that it's made of solid adamantium.
Aha.
Great.
Well,
That just looks like regular metal to me.
Emaírel is going to go back to the chalk markings. Since they seem to be important, he'll go over them as carefully as he can.
Mm-hmm.
While
Does
also
that mean you take 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Using.
So we're gonna take 20 minutes then.
no, I think it's 2 minutes.
Yeah. Depends.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the perception would be 2 minutes. But is that what you're doing, or are you going to take
Well, if no one objects,
No, yeah, let's do it, please.
I mean, the difference is probably that with perception, people could probably help you try to figure it out. With linguistics, I don't know how many people are trained in linguistics to be able to aid.
Well,
I have a rank in linguistics.
Okay, so
Emaírel doesn't know anything about linguistics, so
Okay.
he just perceives.
Well, that makes
Maybe-
it easier.
maybe Evelyn and Geier work on the linguistic side while he's just studying it with perception. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but Evelyn is pretty well trained in linguistics.
Okay. So you take 20 in linguistics,
Yeah.
and Gaia can aid. And Emaírel takes 20 in perception for 33. And the doctor, what are you going to do? Which team are you going to help?
I don't have any ranks in linguistics, but I'm very smart and I
Okay.
have four intelligence for linguistics, but I have better perception.
Okay. So so you can try to aid as well.
Yes.
All right, you aid successfully. And Evelyn's linguistics modifier?
It's +6.
So you're 26, and Geier, you can aid.
Run away.
Does he have to roll to aid, or is it just assumed that over 2 minutes he's also
But
taking
there
a
is
20?
technically it's just ill-defined. You take 20 and aid another is rolling, and usually you can't aid with anything that takes place over a stretch of time. So it's sort of a house rule that I do, that you just roll for the aid if you take 20. Okay. Yeah, like I said, they're really just faint. Geier and Evelyn, you try to make sense of them. You're very careful not to lose any more by like wiping across them or something. And it is quite a puzzle for sure. Emaírel and the Doctor, on the other hand, go at it from a totally different perspective. Instead of just trying to fill in the missing pieces, they try to really see the pieces that are still there. And apparently that's a better strategy, because bit by bit they kind of piece together the lines. They using the piece of chalk that the Doctor took out, you trace lines between the smudges, and as they basically emphasize the parts that are still there, Evelyn and Geier, you are more able to fill in the blanks, and you end up with something that looks like a crude diagram depicting the iron spire atop of the tower and two strange apparatuses at its pinnacle. And then there's an arrow that points to the larger of the two devices next to some words that you have carefully reconstructed to say, "The Stormcaller must be activated to energize the bond slave thrall."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I understand common, but I have no idea what any of this means.
And as you've put that together, the little homunculus, all of a sudden, I mean, he can't make a sound really, but his body language is that he jumps for joy as he realizes, and he slams his hand against his head, which gives it a nasty sounding, wet kind of slapping sound. As it realizes something, and then it flies over to your reconstructed marks, and it points at the words "bondslave thrall," and then it flies over to the remains of the beast lying in the doorway, and it just it points at it with both hands, palms outstretched, in a way like ta-da, almost seeming like that, and then flies back to the wall and again frantically points at the bondslave thrall.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well,
something called the Stormcaller, which might be the Promethean, is going to bring down lightning to reanimate the beast.
No, look, the Stormcaller it's clearly the device atop the tower here, see? And Evelyn refers to the arrows pointing to the iron spike.
Mm-hmm.
so ultimately, I was right. We can fix him up.
I don't think we'll be able to do anything with him though until we
Yeah.
deal with the brother.
Well, I still have 7 bombs on me. But I'm not sure I will survive this encounter by myself.
If the creature is weak to adamantium, does that mean that it's resistant to everything else?
Well,
Likely.
it's probably resistant to everything apart from adamantium.
Right. Well, that does not spell.
And you can give me another knowledge arcana check if you want. Okay, Emaírel. You don't know much about golems, maybe, but you know one thing for sure, and that's that the resistance that can only be overcome with adamantium usually goes with complete immunity to magic.
But we have a mummy.
We have a very bad situation here, gentlemen. Very,
Yes.
very bad situation.
Yeah, it does sound like no matter what we do, we won't do the right thing.
If
Well,
this is resistant to forms of damage that aren't adamantium and immune to magical damage, not surely you don't mean, Emaírel, that it's immune to all forms of magic and simply that it's immune to magical damage, correct?
No, he means any magic that allows spell resistance.
Do we have
Immune to anything that allows spell resistance.
Do we have
On top of the usual construct immunities, meaning no mind affecting.
No mind. Well, yeah, no positive,
Yeah.
no negative energy.
Yeah.
Do we
but
have
at least the resistance is something that you can overcome with more damage.
yeah?
Not the magic one. Yeah.
Do we have create pit spell?
But there is something that I'm not understanding. Like, so upstairs is the Lord of the Manor
Yes.
and the
The
Promethean,
father.
Yes.
and the apparatus is in the same place.
No, it's on top of the tower. The apparatuses are on top of the tower, and you know, with having
And
seen the tower from the outside and seeing how high the ceiling is in here, you would think that there's one more lab or chamber or whatever above this floor, and then one floor above that is going to be the top of the tower that's open to the elements with the Stormcaller and the Bondslave Thrall.
So it's possible that upstairs we have the three that we talked about, and outside there might be the agents of whatever necromantic forces are still there.
Well, the homunculus said that they have left, so they probably are out to do their nefarious things in some other place, since we haven't met them so far.
Little critter, do you have a name?
Waxwood.
Great. Waxwood, is there any way at all that we could possibly just talk to the brother?
And
Is he
he
amenable to pleasant conversation?
He stares at you for a little bit, and you stare in its deformed face, and even with its weird sort of body language, it gives you a look as if you just said something really stupid.
Well, I hoped we might fare better, but in that case, is there anything at all you can suggest that might give us an advantage against this creature?
And again, it just frantically points at the Bondslave Thrall, and then does this sort of ta-da motion to the beast itself.
So,
Listen. We have a potion of bull strength on us, a potion of spider climb on us, and if someone who is really strong drink a potion of bull strength, pick up our dead friend and carry him upstairs with a spider climb, well, ta-da! I guess. Huh?
Wait, so from the diagram of the tower, I'm sorry, I think you just said this, Simon, but does it look like we can access whatever machinery we need to access to revive the beast without crossing paths with
Well,
the brother?
if you can find a way to get to the rooftop without going through the lab, so you would have to climb the tower on the
Okay,
outside or
so
fly
exactly.
up or something like that.
So
But
exactly what Arronax is saying, okay.
Yes, yes.
Don't suppose there's a winch or a crane or a dumbwaiter or a pulley and lever system somewhere?
In a place full of contraptions, I wouldn't be surprised.
Waxwood just shakes his head.
Oh boy.
Maybe we could use, I don't know, a wet rope and pull it from the lightning catcher downstairs. That's...
Maybe Emaírel, how are your I don't even know what to call them. How are your abilities, your mystical abilities doing? Are you fully primed?
Oh yes, I can go full day, but I don't think I have it in me to carry the beast while climbing a sheer
Oh no,
surface.
no! I didn't mean that. I meant your strange sensory abilities. Do you think that you might be able to get a better idea of what's up there and if there's anything we can use?
Yeah. And
I mean,
well,
worst case
we'll
scenario,
sit
throw a
down.
rope.
But we can just take a look first.
The other thing is, like, how high is the outside? How high would it be going up the sheer sides of this tower? Are we talking like 30 feet, like 60 feet, 120 feet?
The tower. Let's see. Well, so the walls of the tower are kind of hard to climb, I can tell you that. That's a DC 25 climb check to scale the wall without any additional help.
Nobody told us that climbing would be so essential in this campaign.
Yeah. And the rooftop is 350 feet above the river.
Okay. Well, how high is it from where we are?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to figure out because the tower itself is. I'll figure it out. It's gotta be in here somewhere, but you probably have other things to discuss because it's gonna be high. That's for sure.
Well, we have a full caster sorcerer. We have a weird half caster mesmerist thing. We have an alchemist, and we have a occultist, and only one of us really just deals straight up damage, right?
What
Is
could
that
go wrong?
is
The
I always
bombs, I think,
they'll
would
go
not be
through.
affected. Yeah, because it's physical fire.
It's physical fire. It's not magical. Well, he'll still have resistance to it, right?
I don't think so because it's energy, unless constructs get the count as objects, which get half damage from energy.
I feel like we've encountered that in the past. I might be mistaken, but I thought that's what happened with the dog things we fought, and the scythe things. Am I right about that, or am I making that?
I think it went through directly.
Well, there's very little I can do directly against this thing aside from send the mummy in. And I can mess with it a little bit with my gaze, but it's not going to be a big factor.
Well, as I've mentioned before, the spider climb potion, it would work for at least 20 minutes. So one of us can get upstairs, I believe, on the wall.
Is any of us strong enough to carry the beast up? I kind of doubt that.
Yeah, I think so. I imagine the beast is
Yeah, it's colossal.
very, very heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
Not in
could-
terms of size category, but weight. And the tower itself, by the way, is 150 feet from base to top.
Wow.
It is high.
So I don't think we can get the beast's help unless we can somehow revive the beast down here. That's the only other thing I can think of. I don't know if there's some way to get the electricity from up there to down here.
Well, do we have 150 feet of wiring around?
That's kind of why I'm thinking that maybe we need to go see what the situation's like up in that room. If there's like spare parts around and stuff, maybe we can figure something out. But otherwise, I'm not sure that we can get the beast's help.
Yeah, I guess it's time for EmaＲel to send his eye out and scope things out.
Through the outside, basically, because the trapdoor is, it's almost sealed.
Well, we'll start by checking out the apparatus itself.
Okay, so you
Stonecaller.
send your eye all the way up to the top of the tower. The tower itself opens onto a flat platform high above the raging waters, and the spire of twisted iron rises from the tower's roof in a series of 3 triangular iron platforms. Perched at the very top stands a huge lightning conductor and numerous lightning rods. A peculiar brass device, studded with dials and protrusions, and filled with a strange purple liquid, stands high atop the tower, attached to a huge silvery conductor by thick, rubber-coated cables. There is, protected from the elements, in a little, what's it called? Little, what is it called? Like it's like a shelf.
Alcove?
No,
Like an
but
overhang
no,
or an alcove.
no. It has a glass door essentially, so that you can hide. It's like a display, I guess. You see a pile of notes, and you can only see the first page since the eye can't manipulate the handle of the display's door. But it seems to be notes on how to operate this machine, which is named as the Bond Slave Thrall in these notes. There is lots and lots of diagrams and some abstruse notations, and then there are scribbled notes in red ink on the margins with a different hand, and it's hard for you to make sense of it. But there's one very almost cartoonishly explicit drawing that shows a large figure, probably supposed to represent the beast, at the base of a tall structure, and then lightning arcing from the top of the tower down towards the beast, forming a connection between the bond slave thrall and the beast itself.
Wait, so we don't have to pull it upstairs? Well, I mean, we might as well try to just drag him in.
Wait, there's some way that the lightning is transferred all the way from the machine down to the base of the tower, or just to the base of that iron structure?
Well, that's what he sees up there. It's some sort of connection that is established between the machine and the beast.
Okay.
So basically, we think that we can use it from a distance, with the beast being distant.
It's an assumption.
Does it look like it has been used recently?
How would you be able to tell?
If it's dusty,
It's out.
rusty.
It's
It's
out
in the
in
elements.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you can tell that those scribbled notes in the margins of these instructions. Well, first of all, they're in a different ink color, so they're clearly by somebody by a different author. The handwriting looks different, and they seem to be recent editions. You can tell that, but you have no idea how long ago.
Okay. Can like if the eye goes back down the walls, is there a window where we could peek at the?
No, the floor between you and the rooftop is just like the bottom floor. There are no windows of any kind. It's just a big cylinder, basically, until you get to the rooftop, which is open.
And was there a way down from the rooftop into the tower?
Yes, another adamantine trapdoor.
Huh.
Yeah, sorry. While we are scouting, Arronax somewhat remembers that we have these figurines of wondrous power, and the Goat of Terror gives us a +5 longsword. And in completely metagamey sense, +5 magical bonus would allow us to bypass adamantium damage reduction, I believe.
Yeah, but I'm sure that you won't have it for long. It's probably something like for a round or so.
Well, it can be used once every 2 weeks, up to 3 hours per use. But we have to take up the goat as well.
Yeah, you have to get the goat in there.
Mhm.
If I remember correctly, the goat is very, very big.
Well, it has a mount-like thing with statistics of a light horse,
Yeah,
so it is large.
yeah,
you
and
gotta
you would
Get it in there and then activate it.
hmm
How big, based on the size of the tower, do we have any idea how large a room above it should be?
large, very large.
Okay.
As large as the chamber that you're in, at least.
Well, it's hard for us to tell how large the chamber we are in at the moment.
Well, the tower is 150 feet high, and you think that it's only 2 floors.
But like the floor surface.
I didn't understand that.
Like, what's the floor area? How big is the floor area?
Oh, you mean the cross section, like the
Yeah.
footprint or whatever? That is 10, 20, 30, 40 feet. So that's not that huge. That's kind of cramped, but it's very lofty.
Okay, a total of 40 square feet. Not 40 by 40.
40 feet diameter.
Oh,
Okay. 40 feet, okay.
Okay, so here's what I say. I say we toss Emaírel on the Goat of Terror, so he can use that +5 longsword. I say we also summon the Goat of Travail, and the Mummy, and just throw minions at it.
Emaírel mentioned that he unfortunately did not go through the cavalry school.
You have no experience on a mount whatsoever.
None.
I mean, it's okay. There's not enough space to miss in there.
I don't suppose I'm trained either. Well,
But I think that we can still attempt to get the beast back before facing.
Well, yes, we probably should try to drag him inside here and see what happens.
yeah, and then we still have to get someone up there to work the machine.
I have to check on Frida. I'll be right back.
And, well, to get someone upstairs, we have a potion of spider climb.
I assume that's going to be the good doctor.
What?
Well, who else is qualified?
Like, stop using my qualifications against me.
Oh, believe me, Doctor, I would much rather handle this personally, but I have a sneaking suspicion that, in this particular regard, I will be relatively useless.
Well, since you mentioned that you wouldn't be of much use in combat, that's probably why you should be the one to start the machinery.
Oh, if you want to leave it to me to decipher these notes, then very well. But alchemy and engineering and the higher maths have never been my particular interest.
For that matter, I don't have knowledge engineering either.
I like to imagine that it's basically just a big switch that you have to flip down, and then lightning happens.
Maybe, I don't know. The fact that there's like a diagram and notes, and he mentioned like dials and stuff, so I feel like there's some sort of operation. I mean, if you guys want to send me up there, I'll be happy to. It struck me that this might be more of Arronax's domain.
Disable device. That's about the only mechanical ability I have. What
I
can
guess he's
do?
more biologically focused, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, my doctorate is in poultry science.
Yeah, and Emaírel does not know much about engineering.
My engineering is +4 because I am untrained. But I can disable a magic device, magic trap only, but I don't have trap finding, so I can't. Disable or rig extremely complex device. DC 25. It doesn't say anything about actually operating the devices with disable device skill. We can count it as one big trap, I guess.
Should we just like leave the castle and become farmers?
Yeah, probably.
We're kind of at that point. Our party composition is not well designed to handle constructs at all.
We can always Leroy Jenkins it.
Well, I mean,
I mean, I do think we should try to revive the beast. I just don't know I mean, if you think, like, the only thing is, I feel like we would have time to activate the beast and still have whoever does the activating come down and help with the fight. Like, if you're concerned that Arronax being up there takes him out of the fight, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Spider Climb works 10 minutes per level, and it is a second level spell, so it works at least half an hour from a potion,
Yeah.
I believe. So, and my mutagen will work for an hour, and there was at least, say, 20 minutes were spent of that, so a Spider Climb and my mutagen will run out roughly at the same time.
But there should still be plenty of time to go up, figure it out for the switch, and
Yes,
and come back.
Yes, it should be enough. It will take about... the subject gains climb speed of 20 feet, so it will take me, well, not that long to go 150 feet above, up, and then it would be another like 5 or 10 minutes of figuring out how to operate the machinery, and then back. There will be more than enough left for the fight. And then, of course, I will drink my Cat's Grace, and will drink my Shield Extract, and I will feel myself a little bit more secure.
I honestly think that's the best way to go. Because, I mean, even though the doctor is not trained, he still has a 4 intelligence bonus over Evelyn's 0.
Yeah, he's
you're-
gonna be the more qualified of the bunch.
Alright, you're charisma caster.
Plus, he got
Forgot.
sparked back to life himself, so, like, who's more appropriate?
Yeah. It's poetic justice right there.
Spark back to life says scientific bollocks. So
I'll be ready to throw the goats, that's all.
yeah, I suppose we should do that. So,
Because the Goat of Travail is pretty nasty all on its own. And I don't think it needs a rider or anything.
enormous creature larger than a bull. In our Strange Eons game, our gnome summoner took a strange habit of summoning 1d3 bisons every time we had an encounter.
Well, this thing is basically a nightmare.
Yes. Neutral evil large outsider.
Statistics of a nightmare, except for the addition of a pair of wicked horns of exceptional size that deal 1d8 plus 4 damage. It has a charging attack. It may only use its horns, but yeah, it's 6 points of damage to each successful attack in that round.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have enough space for a charging attack in here.
Well, 40 feet diameter. I mean, if we leave it an opening gap, it can at least charge in once.
Well, between that and the mummy and Emaírel, I guess that should be enough.
I'm hoping that we can just mob it down, and then the doctor can just lob bombs at it, and
Yeah,
Evelyn and Geier will cheer.
Yeah, just offer moral support.
Yeah, you stab us with cure light wounds once.
Well, no. Geier could summon some creatures.
That's true.
Well, maybe he might have like 1 or 2 spells that are not subject to spell resistance.
Like Great Pit.
So, I mean, Acid Splash.
Well, just open it and see if it's you have a line that says SR yes or SR no.
It says Acid Splash, SR no.
Well, then that works. It will damage it.
And that is a cantrip, so. So I can summon a couple of monsters. The Wand of Acid Arrow also.
Oh, that's good.
But I don't understand what's happening exactly here. So the master and his dead wife and this creature are upstairs, but doing what? And
Oh, if they were.
where
Some
are?
sort of crazy experiments.
Yeah.
I imagine my guess is that the master that Karamark has been probably trying to revive his dead wife for quite some time and been doing experiments to perfect his technology. He made the beast. He made this other thing. I'm guessing the baddies released this evil brother from that like holding cell that we saw that was empty, and who knows what it's doing now. It's threatening the doctor, or it wants him to make a wife for him. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe it's Bride of
but like-
Frankenstein up
So
there.
it's a love story.
well, yes,
Ultimately, it's a love story.
of course.
But like the issue is what do they gain? What does the code gain from all of this? Did they just come for some
minions?
object?
I
they
have no
already
idea. I mean,
Are they coming back?
maybe they came for the sea stone effigy or the sea sage effigy. That's the only thing I can think of right now. Or maybe there's something else that we don't know about yet. I have no idea what the Whispering Way wants with this, but they made notes about using the machine, so they might have some purpose with that.
Build an army, obviously.
Maybe they have something they're trying to reanimate, or maybe they just need some of the tech. I don't know.
Because they are more like they're more about undead rather than constructs. So it's like it doesn't really add up.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that as well. Yeah, I still don't know what they want here. I mean, obviously Karamark was into some crazy stuff, so he might have, who knows what knowledge he has that he's stored in his libraries or in his mind that they might have wanted.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, we defeated the brother, and everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're fine. Everything's fine.
Nice. Well, fun campaign. See you
Game
guys.
over.
Yeah. Okay. next Thursday, right?
EC GG.
So the question is, no. We decided that the doctor would go upstairs, and we think he's smart enough to figure out the apparatus. So I guess it's a go.
Yeah.
How does he want to get upstairs? Because, like I said, there's a whole floor between the actual machine.
Dr. Arronax will use a spider climbing potion and will walk upstairs on the wall.
Out on the outside.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you go. You have a spider climb potion.
Yes. It is written in here, so I'm assuming we do have.
And if it is written, then it shall be true.
Yes.
So you down the spider climb potion.
Yes.
I don't think you've ever had one before, have you?
No, it is the most peculiar sensation.
Yeah. Tingly on the fingertips. And you start walking up the wall on the outside, just like a spider,
Well,
effortlessly.
Arronax will try to not to do it too obviously in case if someone looks out of the window, if there is any windows.
There are no windows, at least not on the tower. So you have a climb speed of 20 feet. So to get up there means 40 feet per round.
And that will take me.
I said 150 feet is the tower, so it's 4 rounds to get up there.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Yeah. So and you know that the potion is going to last for a half hour, so you'll be fine.
Yes.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
And you climb all the way up to the top of the tower, where indeed everything looks just like Emaírel had described it from his glimpse with the disembodied eye. You climb not just the walls of the tower, but also climb to the highest platform that has been placed on top of it, and you find yourself at the very top of the iron structure, next to those strange apparatuses. There are there's that pile of notes that Emaírel had described, and you grab it, you flick through them, and they are mostly gibberish. They're written in some sort of code. There's some comments by somebody who's apparently also been very frustrated by the obscureness of the descriptions, and that's also where that strange cartoonish drawing comes from. That somebody just had to break down how this works for lesser minds. And you can give me what check is that? No. You can give me a use magic device check or a knowledge arcana.
Well, my use magic device is -1 thanks to my mutagen, so I will use Arcana.
Okay, but yeah, you look through the notes and then you think, well, there's no time for that. Who needs instructions?
Yeah.
You know, what scientist has ever actually stuck to the manual? So you throw them out.
I'll figure it out as I go along.
And you just figure it out. Exactly. You push around on the buttons. You know, or you would assume that you probably first have to get some energy into this whole system.
Yeah.
And as you mill around, if somebody could see you standing there on top of the tower, it would be quite a dramatic scene, since the storm around you is getting more intense. Lightning flashes every now and then, and only your slightly more monstrous looking silhouette is outlined in the night sky. And in the twilight, you push buttons, you pull levers, you flip switches until there's this hum that begins to emit from the machine that must be the storm caller. And all of a sudden, the hairs on your head, and especially in the back of your neck, start to stand on end, and a myriad of sparks and little bolts of electricity start lashing out. They strike down onto the rooftop. Luckily, here where you're standing, right next to the bondslave thrall, the other machine, you can easily avoid them. Give me a reflex save.
My reflex.
Yeah, give me a reflex save. 11, however, is not enough. But you only take half damage, since you can, like I said, easily avoid most of the discharge. So it's only 5 points of electricity damage as you get slightly shocked by one of those lightning bolts. But the humming continues, and the sparks continue to fly even after the first discharges. And it seems like the Stormcaller has been successfully activated, siphoning energy from its surroundings, turning it into lightning. Fantastic machine.
Wonderful.
So there's only one thing to figure out left, which is how to get this other thing activated.
Mm-hmm. Okay. First of all, Arronax will drink Cure Light Wounds potion.
Okay. 12
12.
points. Mm-hmm. So?
Yes, I am in my max hit points, thankfully. And so we have turned on the Storm Caller, and now we have to turn on the Bond Slave Thrall, right?
Yes, correct.
Alright. Well, I have no idea how to do that now without any notes. I suppose I should use Disable Device to try to fiddle with it, or try to once again use my Knowledge Arcana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go with Knowledge Arcana. And who needs notes? Instructions? They're all for lesser minds. You have you have genius in you. You've known it all along. Seeing these machines here just seems to awaken something in you. It just feels right. You're kind of in your element, almost literally.
You might say I've got the spark. Yes.
You do. It is invigorating. You even forget the danger of what's happening around you. And while you're playing with the machine, you're marveling at its ingenious construction. Something heavy begins to hammer against the trapdoor that connects the rooftop to the lower floor. Sounds like the Promethean has noticed the the discharge and the change, the machinery humming to life up here. No matter though, for you have more interesting things to figure out, and some more flipping of switches and connecting of wires and pulling of levers, and finally the bond slave thrall adds its own high-pitched whine to the deep hum of the storm caller. The purple alchemical liquid inside the large protrusion begins to rapidly boil. And as you hold on to the machine, you feel that the beast is down there at the bottom of the tower, but so close at the same time. You reach out with your mind and you slip in and you feel around in this what feels almost cavernous body that your mind suddenly inhabits.
Oh.
And you twitch a muscle and a finger moves. And those downstairs can probably see the beast move a finger. And you flex another muscle and it pulls its leg out from behind its back with a cracking sound. And almost like a puppeteer, you realize you're in control.
Well, as I slowly regain control of my new body, I raise my hands and try to lift myself up with a sound of cracking bones, and I suppose the the flesh putting itself together or not, or at least trying to put
The
myself together?
flesh is not. It's not healing itself. Everyone who's down.
Well, I will just
Little bolts of lightning arc from one side of the gashes of the gaping wounds over to the other side, the electricity discharging across the wounds, but it's not healing per se. It's almost like the entire beast is lifted up through this lightning energy. What was it called? Electricity is what they call it.
Yes, heretical science, but apparently nonetheless effective. Can I speak for it?
Yes, you can.
Well, in that case, the new beast of Lepstadt will look at Emaәрel, Evelyn, and Geier and says, "That is not what I expected. Quick, the Promethean is upstairs. It will try to rip my new body apart. Wait, my old body apart. We don't have much time."
Was the Promethean back in on the upstairs trapdoor or the downstairs?
On upstairs though, he will definitely wants to have my body.
Yeah, Evelyn's like staring at the beast as it's getting up, and at first she's like, "Oh, good, yes, like it worked, excellent." And then as it starts talking, her eyes go wide, and she's like, "Doctor?"
Huh? Oh yes, I have been called that.
And you hear Evelyn's voice. You see your friends, and you realize something else besides the fact that you can control the beast's actions. You realize that you're not alone in here.
Aha. I see. I think I feel its presence inside. It seems our friend is not as gone as we might have expected. Although I'm not sure whose presence it is. It might actually be the Promethean upstairs. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, somebody's baby monitor is out of battery or out of range.
It's kind of out of range, just on the edge of its range, apparently. Anyway, so
Yeah, Evelyn is going to, once she realizes what's happening, she's very hastily going to begin casting spells. She touches the beast. Oh shit, is it going to be affected? Can it be affected by a helpful spell?
what is it? What sort of spell?
Hermian potential. It's mind affecting compulsion. I mean, there's a mind in there right now.
There is a mind in there, but does it offer spell resistance?
It does.
Then it would be immune.
Okay, I assume at this point she would be experienced enough not to blow a spell doing that. Then.
Yeah.
Okay. Then she's just going to put one spell of Hermian potential on Emaәрel. Hold on to the second for the time being.
Oh, sorry. Wait a second. It actually has as its weakness an open mind, which means that it is susceptible to mind-affecting effects, charms, compulsions, phantasms, patterns, and morale effects.
Well,
So,
then I will
yeah.
give both.
Thinking that there is a mind in there, so why not try?
Yeah. Okay. So I will give both the beast and Emaәрel Hermian potential, and then say, "There's no time to lose."
There is no time.
And the doctor, with heavy, lumbering footsteps, charges up the stairs. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
The entire tower shaking on the weight of his new body. And then throwing himself against the trapdoor after unlocking the bolt. He bursts it open and climbs or steps into the room upstairs, which has clearly once been a laboratory. Now it's just choked with webs. There are two objects that stand out immediately: a large iron idol and a glass bell jar of the same size.
Mhm.
They stand against the eastern wall here. The jar is filled with fluid and contains a human woman, while the idol has only 2 openings for eye holes, through which blink a pair of terrified human eyes. And you hear a very weak voice call out, "My son, you've come to save me." The next thing that happens is that from high up near the ceiling, you hear a blood-curdling shriek as the aberrant Promethean comes running down on the webs that it has created itself like a spider. A stitched abomination made from the parts of at least half a dozen creatures. Surprisingly similar to the sketch that Waxwood made, even though you wouldn't have thought that something like this would be possible. Blended together parts of choker, jewel, cloaker, ettercap, a disgusting mass of unlife. You can give me a knowledge arcana check. Okay. Right, Emaírel, Geier, so much, but Doctor, you're glad that you have this powerful body at your disposal because your friends are no match for this creation that you're facing here. It will probably cut through them like butter. There's only one thing that can stand in its way, and you're currently in control of it.
Well then.
Go for initiative.
So what sort of initiative I use?
You use your own initiative.
Okay.
At this point, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Finally a roll 20.
Are the rest of us rolling initiative too?
Yes, everybody.
After an evening of terrible rolls, I get to act first, and no clue what to do.
Just shoot it with acid.
Yeah, that's the only thing without spell resistance.
Oops.
Yes.
Seems like we can't edit the
Looks like you surprised it a little bit. All right, Doctor. 16. Geier.
25.
Emaírel.
19.
And Evelyn.
20.
Okay, well, everybody acts before the thing. So, Geier, yeah, you're the fastest reactions.
Geier stretches out a hand and acid shoots out.
Does that offer spell resistance?
Nope. Well, I checked on the little thing. It says spell resistance. No, it's the only thing that doesn't have spell resistance.
Okay. In that case, that's a 19. That's actually a hit for a whole point of acid damage.
Yeah, it
He's
stings.
done it.
It stings a little.
And the Promethean died. No. Evelyn, your turn.
Evelyn is first of all going to make a knowledge check to confirm everything that she was
Right.
afraid of and make sure this is actually a construct.
Good idea. Knowledge Arcana. Must be.
Yeah.
It's definitely as described.
Okay. In that case, she is going to pull out well, I guess she's already had this in hand because we were talking about it before. She's got some ivory goats on hand, and she's going to activate one of them, bringing forth the Goat of Travail.
The Goat of Travail.
Yes.
I
the
believe
Goat
that's
of
the correct
Travail.
one.
Yes.
It's essentially a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. And a pair of wicked horns.
Of exceptional size.
Don't forget the exceptional size.
Very
If it
exceptional
is
size.
charging to attack, it may only use its, but add 6 points of damage to each successful attack in that round. It can be called to life just once per month. Yeah, but how does it attack? Like a nightmare? Does a nightmare?
It says it has the statistics of a nightmare,
Yeah.
but with the horns and a charge.
Exceptional size, yes. Horns.
So
And it has
Yeah.
a bite.
Yeah, but
and
what's
two
its
hooves.
is its attack modifier
Plus
for the
9.
its
horn?
modifier is the base attack plus 6.
And bite is plus 9 with all the modifiers final.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And a nightmare can fly. Good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I can do that too, I guess.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it says
That's
it with the addition. But then, what sort of attack are the horns? Is that?
Well, it's a gore attack, I guess.
Yeah, but is it a secondary or primary?
I think. Let's see. It should be listed in natural attacks. I think it's primary shape.
I don't know. It's very poorly described. What I'm getting here is that you're supposed to use the horns when you're charged, which is when you can only use one attack anyway. And then
Well, yes.
that's probably also the only time that you can really use the horns.
Yeah, so the normal routine would be just bite and hooves.
Well,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it says that gore attack is primary attack.
So now it has 2 primary attacks with the bite and the gore?
Yes.
I
I would
doubt
assume the
that.
bite becomes secondary.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a weird creature to just pull out. It's fine. It'll die soon enough anyway.
Yeah. You're talking about
Okay.
weird creatures pulling out, you know?
So yeah, so Evelyn is basically, she's in there. It's like, yep, that's a construct. It's clearly constructed, and swift action gazes it, throws out the goat, I assume, as her action. And can the goat attack this turn, or is that
I
it?
would say so.
And the goat will charge in then. I guess with a +9.
Okay.
Well,
It charges in, cutting through the webbings. Whoa. And slamming into the aberrant Promethean, basically hitting it head on while the Promethean was already charging down to meet its brother. 28 is, of course, a hit.
So it says 1d8 +4 for each horn, and it has 2 horns. I assume it's attacking with both at the same time.
You can't use more than one attack when you're charging.
But it says
Unless you have pounds.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I know.
No, it's 1d8 +4, so it is for a horn, and that gets +6 for a charge, I guess. For one horn attack. Eh?
I guess so. It's weird.
That's so confusing. Are you supposed to use both horns at once? It's a gore attack normally, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do just 1d8 +10.
Here's a weirder bit. If it's charging to attack, it may use its horns.
Yeah, I know.
It
And then
also
it says that
says
for each successful attack in that round.
successful,
Yeah,
yeah.
but it can't attack more than once in a round if it's charging because it doesn't have pounce or anything like that. I know. It seems
Yeah.
poorly written.
Aye, aye, aye.
Anyway, we'll
Alright,
see.
yeah.
So, let's just give it its 1d8 plus 4 for the horn. 17
Well,
points of damage.
It was a charge, so I gave it the +6 points of damage.
Yeah,
Mhm,
that's
yep.
okay. All right. Yeah, it slams into the aberrant Prussian that just is stopped dead in its movement downward, and it
And
just kind of bashes
Evelyn-
into the creature.
And Evelyn will also use her painful gaze to add an additional 3 points of damage onto that.
That's not mind affecting.
No.
Okay. So that's 20 points. Okay.
So we both did damage.
Yes.
Basically. Emaírel?
So I think we did confirm that this is a construct. So Emaírel is going to take his turn.
Well, I roll. I mean, Evelyn said it's definitely a construct, but you know.
Yeah. Can Emaírel still roll, even though he tried to roll before seeing it?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it's definitely a construct, and some sort of flesh golem, you would think, because it's stitched together from various fleshy bits. But it's impossible to tell what it can and cannot do, except for what you would assume is that it's resistant to, or it is what do you say, like sensitive to adamantium, and with that usually comes the magic immunity. But beyond that, you will just have to wait and see what it can do.
Okay. Well, he is going to take an instant to make his spear construct pain, and that'll be his round.
All right, Doctor.
So what
Okay,
can I
so
do?
yeah, give me you
What?
this you're still figuring out how this works.
You've
Are you?
you've
Can you hear
glitched
me?
out. You've glitched out a little bit.
Can you still hear me, or is it still glitching?
I hear you. It's alright. It was just a moment.
Okay. Okay. So you're still figuring out how this works, controlling the beast, and you feel the presence of the beast's mind in here. You feel this little spark somewhere in the at the edge of your consciousness, and you feel the strength of the beast, and you feel in control of its arms. But you feel the beast's primal rage well up inside of you too. But you also feel like that you brought something of your own mind with you when you came here, which gives you the possibility to actually do something special. Which means you can give. Well, I don't know if that really applies, but you could grant the use of one of your feats to the beast for 1 round.
Well, that would be useful if I was a fighter.
Yep. You don't have sneak attack, don't you?
Nope.
You don't have any arcane stuff, and you don't have any divine stuff.
I have spontaneous healing, but I think that was spent. And spontaneous healing is discovery, so.
No, so if you don't really have any feat that applies, then never mind. You just feel in control.
Yeah, unless the beast somehow has bombs in there, so.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But you feel in control. You know how to make it walk. Now the next thing is how to make it angry.
Well, all right. you won't like it when it's angry, I guess. But so does this translate as I can enrage it itself?
Yes, you can. You can trigger its rage,
In
you.
that case, Arronax will point the finger of the beast at his brother, I guess, and he will grumble through its fleshy mouth. You, and he will trigger the rage.
Yes, you feel the beast's rage well up. You feel the beast's mind in here flare all of a sudden in what feels like a bright red flash of anger. And you barely hold on to be along for the ride as the beast's instincts take over, and you really feel like you're only sharing this body.
Uh-huh.
You can vaguely steer it into a direction, but all of it feels more indirect, and your control has definitely slipped a little bit because of the rage.
Well, I mean, we can trust him. He's our friend, right?
And triggering the rage is a free action at this point, or ending is free. Can rage whenever enter range. Yeah, enter rage is a free action. So
as I am enraged, so I guess one only thing left to do is to just run it at the aberrant Prometheus and try to punch him, unless I have some other weapons at my disposal.
So you run up the stairs and taking leaping steps to get to the same height as the aberrant Prometheus, that strange goat that has all of a sudden appeared. But what is too strange at this point? And with the last few steps gaining ever more momentum, you jump that last little bit and careen into the monstrous abomination.
Uh-huh. So what would be that attack?
Well, do you see the picture?
No.
We're still on the carrying crown screen.
You're still on the carrying crown screen.
Yeah.
That is technically correct, but I thought that you would be able to see.
There is no map.
There's no creature.
Okay, let me see. Wait. There you go.
Aha. Now we can see it.
Ooh.
I was wondering when we were gonna get to see what this thing looked like.
Yeah, I couldn't just show you the picture like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's call that a slam. Plus 21.
All
Holy
right.
shit.
Now that's a good thing. I like it. I like this modifier. And it's natural
And
20.
let's go for it's only fitting. Holy shit. And now you can roll plus 14.
What?
Yeah, you micro cut out there.
4d8 plus 14. $34 points of damage and 1d6 electricity as cannon careen into it, and sparks fly as some of the electricity that seems to animate the beast at this point discharges into the abomination. That's your turn. Quite a turn indeed. The Promethean itself unleashes a sound. Infrasonic frequencies emit from its mouth opening, and everybody needs to roll a fortitude save, please. The beast has a solid +8.
Uh-oh.
Aha!
I believe at this point, Emaírel and Arronax are both gonna be triggering. Oh well, no. Technically, Arronax triggered his Hermian potential, and you guys both triggered at once already.
Mm-hmm.
When on your turn when you made rolls, but
Okay.
but I think you have one more. So
Well, I guess so.
What-
And we don't
How,
get
how many rolls total is it?
2,
2.
and we don't get to choose
Let
because
me-
it triggers automatically.
It's
right?
just the first one. Yeah. Let me just double check. It does apply to saving throws, so you guys both crushed them probably anyway. So I don't think it matters. But
Okay. Well, it's 23 anyway, as a better
Does
one.
it apply to skill checks too?
yeah, it's
Okay.
it's ability checks, skill checks, saving throws, and attack rolls.
A little bit of everything.
Sorry, I did my math wrong. Give me a second here, because I was wondering that the beast didn't punch as hard as I thought it should, and they didn't put the power attack math in there. So what it actually is 1, 4, 8, 12 minus 4 plus 8 times 2 plus 16. Okay, so that's 16 more points of damage.
Holy shit!
Well, that's almost as high as average kineticist damage.
All right. So I don't see. Oh yeah, Evelyn, you're nauseated by these ultra low frequencies, and you just kind of collapse on the floor. Your stomach turning and twisting. You're cramping up, and you're nauseated. And that was the creature's turn. In fact, Geier.
Geier will focus his horrid visage on the ground and summon forth a skeleton for aid.
Hey, we shouldn't forget our
The mummy.
Yeah,
Okay.
or mummy.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do that on the last turn, but I'm gonna get the mummy in on my turn if I can still do that. Let me see.
And yep, I summon a skeleton, but it takes 1 round. So
Okay, you start
the
summoning the
ground,
skeleton.
the floor starts glowing this unnatural, eerie green as this form starts to materialize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as a movement action, Geier will try to keep his distance as much as possible.
Okay. Evelyn.
So, reading the text for nauseated, I can't attack, cast spells, concentrate on spells, or do anything else requiring attention. Does that mean I can't use... It says the only action such a character can take is a single move action per turn. So, does that mean I can't use swift or free actions either?
That depends on what do you want to do.
Well, my gaze is not technically an attack, a spell. It doesn't require concentration. So I don't know if I can keep gazing. And the other thing I want to do is order the zombie in there to attack.
Well,
Which should be free, I think.
I think telling the mummy to just like kind of get him, that would be fine. But the gaze strikes me as something that you would have to be more in control of what you're doing.
You can gaze at the floor.
Okay.
And I mean, it specifically says the only action you can take. It's not
Yeah.
saying you lose your standard action, but it's really just that.
Okay. Well, then I'll just order the mummy to attack the monstrosity and otherwise retch on the floor.
Okay. Let me see the model.
Maybe try to crawl my way out of the fight as best I can. And I assume the nightmare thing is still attacking the goat.
Right. Yeah. The goat would still be attacking. So go for it.
I guess at this point, it's just making a full attack.
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't even know what to do. So do I just ignore the horns for now and just give it the normal nightmare attacks?
I think I would ignore the bite because it doesn't. If it has the horns, it would use the horns, and goats don't.
Okay. Well, then can I use the horns as the first attack and then do the
Yeah.
hooves?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 separate horn attacks.
Mhm.
So I think the first one's maybe
Nope, both of them miss.
the 23 misses. Oh damn. Okay. And then here come the hooves. It's just a +4.
Miss.
And does the mummy? Can the mummy get up there? I mean, we don't have a map, so I don't really know.
Starts trying to climb up the thick strands of webbing to get up there. It's the speed of 20 feet. Yeah, so it just barely makes it up there. On its turn.
And that's its whole turn.
That's its whole turn. Emaírel.
Okay.
Emaírel will move closer to the action and try to get a stab in.
So you climb up the stairs, kind of behind the beast, from a little bit of a distance. Try to stab the aberration. And fail. Doctor, you
Well, yes.
try to let let me say something. You try to let the rage take control and keep hammering at the aberration when suddenly a crack of lightning outlines the trapdoor in the ceiling as you realize that lightning must have struck the bond slave thrall itself. You're not sure what happened to your other body, but what it definitely did was that it sort of supercharged the beast itself.
Uh-huh.
The mind of the beast that was this glowing red ball in your perception suddenly went nova, and for a second there all you see is rage, and then just as quickly it subsides again. But for a split second there, your mind and the mind of the beast were occupying the same space, and you're not sure that you're completely disentangled again.
I will have just to deal with that later.
Some of that rage may be left.
Well, it's...
But you have a job to do, so...
Yes, thing is, it's... Well, that is the risk every alchemist has to take when it plays with syringes. And... Anyway, yes, we need to slam more. So that would be... another +21?
Yes.
Is that a single attack, or I can have full round action?
You can do two of those per round.
That's
as a full round.
So in that case we will continue. Arronax will. Well, maybe it was Arronax, maybe it was the beast. Who knows? He will roar with his new mightiest power, and he will continue to yell "You!" because that's the only word he has for this creature, and he will slam at it.
Whoa, yeah, definitely a hit. That's 2d8 plus 17 plus 1d6 electricity. Okay.
1d6, right?
Yes. Okay.
Not very much, but alright.
And you have one more attack as the beast just brutally flails at its brother. Another hit.
That's more like it.
120. Okay, so, and with that last punch that the beast throws at the aberrant, you hear a sickening crack. The alien-looking head of the construct twists at an unnatural angle, and the Promethean itself collapses, falls, smashes onto the bottom of the lab, and doesn't move anymore. The beast, now back in control of its own body, howls with rage and relief, and lightning crackles over its body and all of its wounds. And the next thing that happens for Arronax is that he loses consciousness and fades out in the presence of the beast's mind.
Alright.
And we'll deal with the aftermath next time.
Alright.
Well,
What about my skeleton?
Well,
what skeleton?
it shows up and then gets
Yes.
hit by the aberrant Promethean as he falls down and gets immediately crushed. Well, Carnes, I can tell you something right away. Arronax has not died. And
Oh, good.
instead he has obtained a level of Master Chemist.
Haha.
Ooh.
Gratulerer.
Yes. All according to plan. I think that is 6th level. Alright.
That was too good to pass that opportunity.
Well, it was very thematic.
Right. Okay. That was the big showdown.
Very nice.
Now we
Very
have to
cinematic.
unravel. Yeah, now we have to unravel the mystery of this.
Yeah. Well, the Count is still alive, even if just barely. So I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on it. But we'll keep that mystery until next time.
Wait, so does that mean that does that mean we all leveled up, or does that mean that he's especially got a level in Master Chemist?
Well, he got a free level for the Master Chemist.
Wow.
But I think, yeah, you remember before the campaign, I asked if everybody would be okay if during the campaign I would hand out
Yeah, that's right.
pretty
That's right.
hefty rewards, and I mean, I'm gonna try to even it out as we go along at some point.
Oh, I'm not concerned. I just wasn't sure what that meant.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Right. Because
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
technically I can't yet legally obtain a level of Master Chemist, because I need to be
Yeah.
able to create further extracts. But
Right.
well,
But I
mean,
think at the next regular level you can, right?
yeah, since after the next level it will be up for grabs for legal.
And you guys are at which level exactly? I don't have the hero lab
6.
out, but
6.
yeah. So you do get a level up anyway. So everybody gets 1 level, and the doctor, in addition to that, gets a level of Master Chemist. So it
Oh, right.
doesn't need to bend the rules in that way.
All right.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Now that's gonna be quite satisfying,
cool.
we may say. Yeah.
Now, how awkward would it have been if you had sent Evelyn up there? Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
Do
he would
you
become the
want to
chief
know what my plan was for? Oh my God, I forgot his name. Our dead gunslinger
Crow?
friend. Yeah, for Crow.
Now I'm curious.
There's a prestige class that's called something. They're basically sheriffs or
Oh, yeah.
marshals. I forgot what exactly they're called.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
shield
that would have been
marshals or something.
awesome.
And I would have tried to engineer a way where he like gets marshaled into that sort of task, probably against his will, but he would be a proper marshal of some sort.
That's awesome. And also, I believe that's the only class in first edition Pathfinder that can move through doors for free. So that would have made me very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, I just figured for this campaign, and I'm looking for ways to do this across the board for everyone at some point. Because prestige classes I've always really liked the idea of having these very thematic abilities, but how the mechanics never really checked out, because it's the more interesting ones have very specific story requirements, but at the same time need very specific mechanical prerequisites. So I decided to this time just kind of make it work, and if that means that you'll be slightly above the power level that's expected, then so be it.
Yeah, bend the rules.
Yeah, this is our last hurrah with first edition anyway, so let's burn it all down.
I like it.
I dig it.
Yeah. You're talking about the Grand Marshal, right?
That sounds about right.
I think it's
I think
Shield
that's
Marshal.
yeah, it's Shield
Or-
Marshal.
Or
That's
Shield
on.
Marshal.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, okay. Yeah, Shield Marshal.
You would get
Grand-
judgments. You would get judgments basically, like an inquisitor.
I think it even includes like an actual badge.
Yeah, and you get an actual badge, of course.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, would have been pretty neat.
Things that could have been. Oh well.
Yep. Well, I have other plans too, so I'm sure somebody will feel like they're getting something. But the Master Chemist was just so. I mean, Kindness, at some point, I think you said that you were interested in doing that, or
Well,
you were
yes,
interested in looking into it.
Well, that was.
And I
my
just
goal
saw
from
this
the
sort of
start, yes.
opportunity coming, and I was just like, yes, perfect.
So what would you have done if somebody else had been inside the beast? Because we were kind of considering that for like
Yeah.
a couple of seconds, sending someone else up there.
I don't know. I really don't. I guess I would have just rolled with it, and then Kindness would not have gotten his nice little
Oh,
prestige class bump, because that would have been hard to
justify.
shoehorn. So Or I would have given the person who controlled the beast a master chemist class just to rub it in.
It's perfectly logical.
Like a completely useless prestige class level.
They'd be like,
It's
what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
You guys should play to the theme.
Yes.
Play to type, come on.
No, I think Cardinus also probably kind of saw where this was heading.
Well, yeah, it's. I was thinking that. Well, yeah, I will totally use that later to justify my split personality. Well, maybe not right away. Maybe not right away, but well, all right, maybe right away.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to hit level 7 though. That's awesome. How long?
Yeah.
How long has it been?
A while. July or something.
When do I think we leveled up? What as we were coming to the mansion? Is that correct, or was it before that?
Yeah.
And I think with level up, my temporary negative level will go away from resurrection, right? Or not? Or no?
No.
No, it must be.
No. Not that I would be aware of that. I don't think that they could just go away when you level up. This is not Diablo.
Good news is that we now finally have access to flight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? Something that lets you fly?
At level 7, finally.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we've had this nightmare, which I forgot could be a thing that could fly.
Well, you still have it for what? 2 hours?
Yeah, and then it goes away for a month. So
Up to 12 hours at a time.
you better believe Evelyn is going to. Well, I guess she shouldn't ride on it because she has no ranks in riding either. Someone better get some flight use out of it.
Well, we'll use it to move the count downstairs, I suppose. It's his figurines after all.
Ooh, I get 3rd level spells.
Yes, and 3rd level extracts.
What are you at? Are you at 4th level spells, Geier? Or is that not quite yet?
Yeah. So, just checking. I'm